Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Friday afternoon / evening Zoom edition, and the market's been pretty frustrating. I mean, I'm going full superstition at this point. I got my rocket Bitcoin background, and I'm rocking my Ethereum shirt in an effort to get this market to shoot up. Because each time it does, we get a Bart Simpson structure, and then it gets swatted back down. So it's been really frustrating the last couple of weeks. But let's go to the charts and check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart. Can I get an
Yep.
amen? Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. So, let's look at a 2-hour chart. So here's one Bart Simpson head right here. See if I can draw this. Like that, and then the smaller one. Not perfect, but each time we get a big move up, it just comes right back down, gives it back. Big move up, comes right back down. That's been so frustrating. So we are still in this range towards the bottom here between 25 and 26 on the bottom, and then we haven't been up here in the 30s for quite a while, since for over a month. So we got a long way to go to get back there. That's been frustrating. And there's been some pretty good news. ETFs from Ethereum have been submitted. The SEC did say that they're punting the other ETF applications to later in the fall, despite the court ruling that came down last week. So more delay, more obfuscation, more nonsense from the government. I saw an article that the commodities exchange is coming down on DeFi for for what they're doing through smart contracts. So there might be another level of government nonsense we have to deal with here in the US. So maybe that's what's holding the prices down. Maybe the whales are trying to get in at the lower prices, 25 for Bitcoin or below. Who knows? So on Ethereum, similar situation, stuck in these low 1600s. 1670, give or take, seems to be the top of this range. And we haven't been in the 1800s for quite a while, going on almost a month. So that's the overall market as I see it. Any questions, comments, or additions? Wild speculations, prognostications? Anybody else superstitious to the point where they're hoping what they do pushes the markets up? Okay. Very
Hey,
well. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
yeah, over on Altcoin Alert, their little I don't know, their little conference call, whatever. They're talking about it dropping down to 20 or even more. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've attended their guys, I'm getting a lot of background noise.
Hey, girl, don't you put some peanut butter?
All right, I'm gonna mute everyone. So, okay, you guys will have to unmute to get back in. But yeah, it's a good point. Every crypto talking head has their prognostication, and yeah, when we were pumping up to 30, I remember Matt and Brendan and some of the guys from CryptNation saying, "Oh, we're going to drop to 25," and we almost hit it. I had a low buy order for Bitcoin as a hodl at 23. I bumped it up to 25, and I just missed it. I think it went down to 25.3 and then bounced back up. So who knows? I'm pretty confident though, if I move mine up to 25.5, it'll definitely drop down to 20. So more superstition, but yeah, Kim, I don't know. Everybody has an opinion on it, and usually, the guys in CryptNation have a pretty good explanation for why they think the way they do. But it wouldn't surprise me if we had a dip down in the low 20s or even in the high teens before maybe pushing up towards the end of the year. Most of the talking heads think that we're going to have a strong last quarter this year, and then we have the Bitcoin halving next year, early spring, I believe, April-ish. So we're expecting a move in Bitcoin, early next year. So that's about the best I can do. Any other?
The other thing is Cuban and a couple others are saying 95% of the altcoins are going to disappear before the end of the year. That seems a little harsh.
No, that's not that soon, but yeah, a lot of them won't survive. I mean, if you look at, the top 10 of cryptocurrencies, say 5 years ago, probably less than half of them still exist or are viable. So it's really critical for anything that you buy and hold to have a practical use case. So, I mean, Bitcoin is digital gold. Ethereum, lots of developers build on it. BNB is connected to Binance despite its troubles, and has functionality through the Binance chain, and you have your layer twos like Matic and some of those that you have to use their token to send things. So yeah, if you're going to buy and hodl something, it should have some practical use. All right, good question. Anything else? All right, so let's see what we can do this weekend to get some trades. We'll go to Altcoin Alert and see what they have to offer. Okay, I am currently on the altcoin radar. I'm going to reload and update. The first sort I like to do is the AA score. I'm on the altcoin radar. I don't like the dashboard. I want the altcoin radar, all the columns. So I'm going to click on this AA score and sort, looking for values 80 and higher. And I was looking at perp because this one's been pumping lately. It's up 11% today. And I don't know why it's not here, because I was looking at this earlier. Look at Coinbase and look at this as a spot trade. Start the 5-minute chart, and I've added something to my chart. You'll see these red and green ranges to help me show the bottoms and the tops and of the market conditions. This is the supply and demand visible range. It's a Lux Algo indicator. Lux Algo is a paid service, but they do provide some free indicators, presumably to lure you in. I did try their pay service a year or two ago. It didn't work that well for day trading, but I do like it for some other functions. And I've been using this for the last 2 weeks or so to help me find the tops and the bottoms of the ranges I'm trading and help screen out some of the losing trades I've had. And so far, I like what I see. Shout out to Frank, who I think is on today. It was his suggestion. So good stuff there. So this is a bit misleading, though, because if you look at it, it's like, oh, yeah, if I buy here in the green, I'll catch this move up. If I buy here in the red, it'll move down if you're trading leverage. But if you're looking at it this way, you need to go back to what you were looking at and see if that changes the ranges at all. You'll notice that that this green moved up a little bit when I went back. So if I move back here, it'll come back up as the range adjusts. Yeah, it's not a huge difference, but you'll see sometimes it's really squeezy, a day or two ago, and then you come back and it's wider like this. So keep that in mind when you're using this. Let me show you real quick how to download it. Show your indicators, type in supply and demand, Deluxe Algo. It's this one here, and I've started, so that's where you find that. And I'll show
I
you.
noticed that there's two there: supply and demand visible range and supply and demand daily.
Yeah, I use the visible range, but you
Right.
can use the daily. I don't think I've tried that one. Yeah, this one here. So Craig, your homework is to download this and try it on your trading and then let me know. Craig doesn't answer to me, so. All right, well, let's use this in a practical sense. So at the moment on a 5-minute chart on a Coinbase spot trade, we're towards the top of the range. So you do not want to get in here because it could be played out. I don't think this is something you can short. So yeah, you probably would want to wait. And you could put an alert down here. This, unfortunately, this indicator in and of itself is not alert, doesn't have an alert function that I could see, at all. So I click on this and it just doesn't give me anything to put an alert on. So I'm using it for confirmation on other indicators. We'll get to those shortly.
CJ, what you could do is just put a horizontal line in at the same place and put an alert on that.
True, but I want to put an alert on the indicator.
Well, it probably can't because it's a visible range. So you're
Yeah.
moving it and the thing's moving depending on what you're looking at.
Yeah, that occurred to me, but I don't have to like it. But so yeah, you could do what Craig's suggesting, and that's to draw a horizontal line and put an alert on the line. So that would be this option here. This is my own little what do you call these things?
Seems redundant to me.
Toolbar.
Toolbar, that's the word. Getting old, forgetting things. So that's an option. And I think that was Frank saying it was redundant.
No, it's Peter. I think it's redundant
okay.
because one glance at the chart and you're doing the same thing.
My dad is so good at calling me during my Zooms. All right. Yeah, you could, or you could just do a price alert too. Just right click here, just set your price alert. There we go.
Plenty of ways to do it. Doing it
Yeah.
on the line just gives you the ability to move it
To move
really
the line.
easily without resetting the alert.
That's a good point. So yeah, if you use the line and say set it here, set an alert on the line, see AA score purchase, click create. So, as the line moves, let's say it creeps back up and you just move that up, wait to get that low entry. So that would be a way to do it. But as you guys know, I prefer alerts or indicators on the 15-minute chart. So here's where the visible range, I'll just say Lux, that's a clunky name. I'll just call it Lux Algo indicator. That's still kind of clunky. You know what I mean? All right, so let's go to Divergence. And you may recall Divergence is a disagreement between the price action and the indicators. I've got this multiple divergences of many indicators indicator. It's an indicator that accumulates other indicators.
Just a second. Back on your the green and red bars, why did you put the yellow line so much higher than within the green range?
I was just showing that as a sample.
Okay,
So,
I got you.
yeah.
Okay.
You could put it, let's go back over there. You could put it up here in the middle, down here, or even just before it. It's wherever I could see some support here, at $1.09 and put an alert there, and then say in case it spikes down and comes back up, could let me know a little bit ahead of time and then reevaluate. So okay, on the 15-minute with the divergence indicators, what I will do currently is I will wait for a bullish divergence, but I want to get it down here in this range. So I'm going to screen out. I could screen out some of these. And that would not have worked in my favor on this one. That might be a bad approach on perp because it's been pumping so crazy lately. So this might be a better one for the for the super trend, but I'll just use it since I'm here. I'm trying to catch like this one down here, this OBV, assuming that this was still the lower part of the range. This would have been the best entry for that move. And then this middle portion is kind of interesting because I can backtrack a little bit. If something's pumping crazy like this thing has, and the range between, the range is 50%, you might want to use this middle value. This yellow line is a middle value in the indicator, and try to catch it there, thinking it's not going to drop this far, but know that you're probably going to have to buy another position if it goes against you. So maybe this drops down and the yellow line's still there, and you go, I think this is just retracing a little bit, and then it's going to pump again. So then you get the second indication of divergence, and maybe you get in there. Maybe you go in half, thinking I'm halfway between the two, a little bit in no man's land, but I'll be ready to buy again if it drops down here. So on something pumping like this, on a spot trade, that's a pretty sound approach. I think it's something I used to do when I was doing more squeeze trading during the more aggressive markets of the latter part of 2020 and early 21. So that would be one approach. And if you want to use divergence or you want to use the indicator, put an alert on it, right click, you want to choose positive divergence once per bar close. That'll keep it on until you turn it off. And then your alert name, I usually use the information source. Go to my notifications. I like to notify in the app, show a pop-up on my desktop computer, and then play a sound. And I'd probably go with this one. And click create, and then you're good to go. Okay, so that's the divergence approach. On SuperTrend, if you prefer to trade with the trend, I like retraces and being contrarian. But if you're trading with the trend, it can be a bit problematic because you get this buy signal here right at the top. This is where you don't want to get in. So yeah, that's a really bad entry, as is this one. Yeah, I was wrong. This super trend is terrible for this for this chart anyway. The divergence is way better. So forget that. Okay, now we've got RSI, and with something pumping this much, I'm looking for values on a spot trade to come down below this 30 value and then come back up. But none of them get that low. See, we don't have anything. This coin hasn't crossed below the 30 in several days. So this is kind of a bad example. You could fudge a little and look at this and see that it's about 37. So if you want to use an RSI alert, and these are the ones that have done the best for me this summer, so I don't want you to forget them. RSI crossing up on, say, 38. Once per bar close, AA score. I'm going to click create, and I'll get this line right here. So the next time it dips below it and comes back up, I'll get that alert and I can evaluate that for a trade. So yeah, this was kind of an interesting one to start off our Zoom call with. Any questions on perp on the 15-minute chart and the use of these indicators and the alerts? And
yeah, on the one you showed a while ago that you said was terrible for the two bounces up, wouldn't those be good scalps? Because you're going from it's like 105 up to 120. No, not 120, 115.
this one actually isn't bad, because yeah, you do get an 8% move. I mean, that's a really good day trade, but you're halfway between the middle and the top of the range. So now the downside of using this range is it will screen out good trades sometimes, but at least for me so far, it's been better to screen out some bad ones. So, but this one here is a terrible entry, because the the alert is going to go off on this candle. So you're actually going to get in somewhere on here when the alert actually goes off. And this is at the very top of the range. Now, if you're doing some ladder buying, some dollar cost averaging, maybe you get in on a spot trade after it goes down 10%. So, and then you get out slightly above where you got in. That's actually not a bad trade. So in that scenario, you take maybe a small loss, or you break even on your first trade, but your second trade, makes probably 8 to 10%. So you have 4% between the two trades, and that's a pretty good day trade, but it's risky to get in up here at the top of the range. So, all right. Any other questions on this before we move on? Okay, let's see what else we can find on Altcoin Alert. And we'll look at something we can trade on leverage, go both directions. Let's see. I was back to the long-term sentiment this morning. Try this one. And use Elder Impulse since we have fewer. It's usually easier to sort that way. IOTA, I think, is the only one here I can trade both directions on, at least through the software I use. Bella and TRB, I think, are on a couple exchanges. Let's look at IOTA. All right, let's turn this off, go to the 5-minute chart. And right in the middle, sitting right on the yellow line on the range at the moment. So you might want to do a price alert right here at the top of the green range around 1750. Or towards the bottom here at 1735. Could be two options for a price alert. On our indicators, for divergence, the second bullish one is kind of close to the range. I actually like to see him to dip down in here and then come back up, kind of like with the RSI strategy. Of course, if I look at this, it does dip on the RSI. That'd probably be sufficient for me to get in because my RSI alert would have gone off. So that's a little bit better entry indicator than divergence is. But regardless, that's a pretty good entry, close to the green zone. Anticipate a dip going against you. Be ready to ladder buy if you need to. And again, we get a pretty good entry there. On the short side, I'm going to scoot over and see how these did. Give it a moment to see. See, when I go back, now this red zone is lower than it was when I first opened the chart. So these, at least a couple of these would have been pretty good entries on the short side, depending on what your goal is. See if I got in on this one, goes down. On my trading, I'm usually looking for 1% move on a chart. I'm using 10x leverage, give or take. So that would have been a good move for me. But if you're holding out for something longer, it's going to go against you about 8%. So keep that in mind. But it does come back down. So divergence shorts don't look that great. The longs, at least here, do, because they got a nice move up. But these, well, this entry is not that good, but this one's pretty good. So I don't know, not loving this on divergence at the moment. Let's look at SuperTrend. Okay, we had this buy down in the range, this one close to it. This one as well. The sells did not do well. These first two, this one did pretty well. This one still has potential. Let's look at RSI. And let's use my vertical line. Okay, we've got this one would have gone above the 70 and then dropped on the RSI, but on the chart goes mostly sideways. 2% move. Yeah, I would have had one additional buy and then broke even on my first trade, so that would have worked out. It would have required an additional purchase though. The next one that goes above it is here, and that's obviously a nice move down, so that would have been a winner. And then this one here dips below, gets close to the green range, and then moves up. Might still be in that one, maybe not. I probably would have gotten in right about here. And yeah, picked up my 1%, and I would have been out. So IOTA is not something that moves, like 50% like the perp trade we looked at before, but those are decent day trades if you're looking for 1%. So I think the RSI is the best approach out of the three we looked at. Any questions on IOTA? Okay, let's see do another sort. All right, reload. So we've done the AA score, long-term sentiment, could do social activity. And if we're looking for a long, we're looking for fire or thumbs up on both the social activity and the trading activity. I like Chili's a lot, but we're only normal on trading activity. OGN has been pumping lately, up 26% today. Venus has a corresponding move down. Storage I've been trading lately. I've had some pretty good results with that. Let's look at that one. Okay, start at the 5-minute. Had this big move up. Kind of close to the bottom range and pumped slightly. What's this? So you could use your vertical or your horizontal line or a price alert somewhere between 24.40 and 23.90 as a price alert. On
Does the
our
volume on those not bother you at all? I
no,
mean, they're just hardly anything there.
no, not something like this because it's this particular one. I mean, look, that looks like a tiny move on a chart, but it's almost 2%, and I'm just looking for 1% moves. So I'm not as much of a stickler for volume as I used to be. What I don't like to see is a bunch of horizontal lines. That means there's no trades happening. We don't have that here. But this is a Binance chart. If you're using, I think Binance and Bybit are comparable in volume, and that's what I trade on the most. But I don't. This one might be on Coinbase. You could trade this as a spot, but I'm looking at it now as a leverage trade. And I don't need big moves to accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish. But that's a good point. If you're more of a short-term swing trader, then you may want to be more in tune to volume. And obviously we have some big volume moves here from the wee hours of the morning. So that's kind of some good stuff to get into. But Kim's right, just going sideways pretty much since then. And that's kind of normal on Friday afternoon. So all right. Yeah, let's go to the 15-minute. Look at our indicators. And the bullish ones did well on Divergence. They're stuck in the middle of the range currently. Bearish ones didn't do well. Usually a divergence will kick in up towards the top of a move like this, but we didn't get one here. So let's say you took this one. Let's see what it looked like at the time. Yeah, see that would have been right in the range. So that would have been in what was the sweet spot of the range at that time. So you get in here and doesn't work that well for me. And then it makes this move up. This probably is a stopped out loss for me. But if you're, if you're not using third-party software or you're staying in trades longer than I do, then maybe you ride this up, do a couple additional purchases and catch it on the way back down. And that ends up being a pretty good trade. But not liking what I see on Divergence too much. Let's look at SuperTrend. You do get a signal here right after the big pump. And it shows, so that's a really excellent entry for the SuperTrend. Well, it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's excellent, but you get almost a 3% move down. So how I'm using this range is once it goes through the range, then comes back through it, kind of like my RSI approach. That's something I'm looking for. That's what I like. So, and these buy signals do pretty well, but the sells don't. Haven't really liked Divergence or SuperTrend that much in anything we've looked at. The RSI has not dipped below 30 in several days. And we're going to have some hits and misses on this, I can tell. Got this entry here. And yeah, that's probably going to be a loss. And then there are other entries as well. This one, yeah, same problem. You're going to get crushed by this big move up. It's hard to anticipate these. These could come out of anywhere. It could be news, could be a whale. It's hard to survive things like this.
DJ,
Yeah, go ahead.
that's where I use the RTI instead of the RSI, because the RTI would have told you not to go short in that point on the chart.
Yeah, I looked at that RTI and then I couldn't remember how you said to use it. So yeah, Frank's talking about the relative trend index, which is some traders argue is better than the RSI, and at least in this circumstance, he's probably right. I don't have the RTI on at the moment. So actually,
if you put it on and you put it above or below the RSI, you'll see the difference. Relative
this one,
trend index, yes.
I had it on a chart and I forgot to save it, then it went away. So let's move this up. And we got it below.
So wherever you got in towards the left,
yeah,
you
these
see
entries here.
That blue line when it crosses the midline and it starts turning green, those little peaks start turning green. And that line never went below the 50 all the way to the top. So if you were looking at a short from Divergence somewhere in where it starts to get really steep, you see that the RSI,
I got to brighten these lines up.
Okay.
The midline is what you're talking about. You want
to? Yeah, I make it white.
Yeah, I was gonna make it like neon,
yellow, whatever, something.
All right, we'll do white.
Okay.
Okay.
And do the top one, you can make it a little brighter in some way, shape, or form, whatever you want.
Actually, this is okay. So we got the RTI, the mid, and
right.
What do I want to do with the trend index as well?
I don't change it. I just leave it.
All right, I'll make it at least thicker. Okay, so
this is telling you to stay in all the way where you get that really big green, mountain there. And so you wouldn't have gotten out if you're playing the trend. You would have stayed in for that big move.
Well, then it
based
drops
on-
down here. Do you get out here?
well, I wouldn't have.
Okay. But you're more of a swing trader than.
It stayed above the white line
Uh-huh.
where you said it drops down.
Where did you say you'd get in at?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So since I want it to drop below the midline on the RTI before I consider a short. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right, which it never does. So that would have kept. I would have missed this move down, but
Well,
I wouldn't have been.
I'm not a purist in that
Mhm.
if I got another signal that said, yeah, hey, take that short off the peak there. Because I believe in, returning to the mean regression.
Yeah. And that's we're
And
starting
when
to get that now.
you're way out of, you're way up there in the red,
Mhm.
I'm looking to go the other way, whether I get
Definitely.
a signal or not. Sometimes I'll just do it.
Yeah.
But when that green line down on the RTI starts to turn down and it's really steep like that,
Mhm.
I would take a trade like that. Sure, I would go short there.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're not putting an alert on this. Maybe you're using SuperTrend or something like that.
Right.
And we get this sell alert. And this is pointing down quite a bit.
Right.
All right,
You see that the average, the blue line is turned over a little. The green line went way down, really steep. That's telling me that is over. That run is over.
Yeah. What we want though for the RTI or any others to keep us out of this trade here,
Right.
this trade here, and this trade here.
Right. Exactly.
And you're saying that these being way above the
Yeah.
white line would kept
Put
us
your
out.
divergence back on there now. So all of those reds are no go based on the RTI being above that white line, all green. That's how I use it.
Okay. I don't have enough experience with this because it's also keeping us out of this really good trade. So, or at least for a while anyway, until it's better established. Okay. You have to, I will.
If you go back to perp, I'm sorry I'm taking over your class here, but
No,
if you
that's
go
okay.
back, if you go back to perp, just leave everything there, but go back to that first chart you showed. And you see how RSI is the yellow line's down, the purple line's going down the whole time. Perp was going up on the left there.
Yeah.
That would have kept you in all the way to the top.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily how I trade, but
I
for
know,
swing
but
traders, this
I'm
is good
saying
stuff. So
this is how I use it.
yeah,
This is what I do.
yeah. We do have some swing traders on here, so this is
right. Well, but if you want to swing trade, you go to a 2-minute chart and play those little ones.
All right. Yeah. I do think this is interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. I don't know if we have enough time to
Right. I know.
to give it. So
but measure between the green and red just on this 2-minute and see what the percentage is.
Yeah. So this looks interesting. You guys might want to download this and try this yourselves as a confirmation, or maybe there might even be a way to trade from it. I'm reluctant to talk about something I haven't really used yet. So but yeah, it does look interesting, and you guys should check it out. Well, shoot, we're at like 40 minutes. That's usually where I wrap this one up. So I will go ahead and do that now. Is there any questions or anything else you guys want to look at? Took a little detour there, but
Sorry.
that's cool. Nah, you're an experienced trader. I want to hear what you have to say. So, all right, then I will stop this here. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help support the channel. And if you are a Carbon member, you need to beat it and then come back on that link in about 15 minutes. We'll see you guys there. Everyone else, have a good weekend. Bye.